Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Blair and Caleb All Things Horror podcast. I'm Caleb,
And I'm Blair.
and today we are going to be talking about the movie Lights Out.
Yes, so Lights Out was directed by David F. Sandberg, and the genre of this movie is supernatural horror, and the rating on it is PG-13. The release date was in 2016, and the runtime is approximately 81 minutes. So, little description about the plot for Lights Out is the sister Rebecca is drawn back to her family home when her younger half brother Martin starts experiencing the same terrifying shadow based hauntings she did as a child, linked to their mother's past with a spirit named Diana.
For sure. And to give a little tidbit on this, when we watched this again, we watched it with me, Blair, our mom, our brother in law, and our cousin's husband. And I got to tell you, for a PG-13 movie, this
Hmm.
was scary. I thought it actually
Yes.
did a good job. The fact that they managed to make a supernatural, like very demon-esque spirit movie at PG-13, I thought was pretty impressive. And for only having a runtime of an hour and what was it, 20,
Like
25,
20 something minutes. Yeah.
it felt longer, and a lot of major props to this movie right out of the gate.
Yes, I completely agree. Especially, I mean, when you think about most like horror movies, I mean, I feel like they always have to throw in like an unnecessary, maybe like sex scene or like, you know, relationship. That's just a little unnecessary. This had none of that. Like, or like over the top gore. Um, Actually, I really don't think there was any gore in this movie.
Not
Like
really.
no,
I don't think
they,
any
go
none of it
ahead.
comes to none of it comes to mind. There were a couple. I remember the demon Diana had a couple pretty gruesome kills, and for what it's worth,
Kills. Yep.
yeah, there weren't any real. The kill count actually was pretty low on this movie, which again is impressive. And I think there was like one scene where I think there was a guy in his boxers, but that's the about the extent of anything like a sexual contact content. Excuse me, I can't talk. Goes, and then like as language goes, nothing really unnecessary. Couple S words here and there, but solid PG-13 horror movie. Um,
Yes.
and
Yep.
crap, I looked over. Mom is just, I, I felt bad for mom. She kept jumping, and poor Blair was on the recipient of that jump. I thought, holy Moses,
Oh gosh. I know. I think her jumping scared me more.
it scared me a little
Um
bit too. So I guess,
but jumping right into it, the opening scene is honestly one of my favorite parts of this movie.
iconic,
Uh
iconic.
yes. The way that it is set up scared me. Um, and it's funny too because so the way that it's set up is they're in a warehouse. Um, and this guy's alone and it's got the automatic lights, which first off, terrifying. I think automatic lights are already scary. Um, and as well as mannequins. There's mannequins all around. I hate mannequins.
Oh,
Be- I do they just looking at them, they had nothing to do with the story. Mannequins never became really a part of the story. They came around once more towards the end when the sister and the brother are locked in the basement.
yes,
It came
yes.
so little full circle moment right there, but again, the mannequins had, like, nothing to do with it. It just was an extra touch added to make it more scary, and I think it worked so well.
And
Uh,
the
and that
simplicity of it. Yes.
Yes. Yes, I think it helped. I think it was one of those things where it really helped pushed it over the edge a little bit of just eerie and not knowing what to expect. So in that beginning when the dad is leaving, and he those lights go out and he flickers it back on and, oh, there's Diana. There she is, and each time that light goes out and back on, she just gets closer. Oh, I hate that, especially when the assistant that was working with him, when she would shut that light on and off because she thought she was crazy, because she thought she was seeing something.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
For I love that part because it's scary. Because she does it so many times, you're like, it gets you on edge, like, you're, "Oh, it's this next one. No, it's this next one." And then you're
And you
like,
don't
"Okay, when's it gonna happen?" I I think it just gets you. It
oh, for
gets you.
sure. And you don't see her, and that's the best part. She just looks like a black
Oh,
shade with
shape,
some crazy hair
yes.
and long nails. Like, you're like, "Okay, clearly this thing shouldn't be here. This is evil." But the
Mhm.
simplicity of just, okay, there's this black figure, and that may probably made it more scary than anything because it
I
let our
agree.
imaginations fill in the box. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
what is this thing? I mean, what kind of supernatural is this? It's just straight evil. So I love,
Yes.
and then to have them, I didn't even catch the mannequins. I didn't even catch that
Ugh,
when you said that. I remember the second time we see them, but
yes.
just like rethinking of it, now I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. The mannequins were
Yep.
there. We're in a warehouse.
Ow.
We're in a large building.
And
It
I think it adds another level of scariness. For me, it was very like I noticed it right away just because of where I work, being in a
oh,
warehouse and
you think
having
about
the
that.
like lights, the automatic lights and mannequins are a thing there. So I that's where I feel like I just related to it the most and I was like that would suck if I was in his position. Like, dang it, you're done. Although I think I would've the only thing is I would've listened to the other person that's there that was freaking out before she left. Like,
Well,
it was just blow
how
what?
often do we make the comment? There's so many people in horror movies
Oh,
that
that
frankly
deserve to
deserve to
die.
die because of
Yes,
the
because they
horrible
don't
decisions
listen.
they make. If they don't listen
Exactly.
and they make the dumbest decisions ever.
Right,
And
and so that was one of those moments where, like, him just not listening and just blowing it off like it's nothing, it's like, "Dude, what? Why do you
and
think like, does she have a reason to lie to you? Like, why aren't like, does she normally say this or something? Like, why aren't you freaking out? I get that he's going through a lot, he's stressed out, um,
and little
and
spoiler alert, the fact that
oh, there's
he
a lot
was
of spoilers.
well, and hey, we've seen it. So there are going to be some spoilers. Just going to go ahead and give that forewarning. But he's actually been doing research on Diana the whole time.
Exactly, you're so
So
right.
so the fact that she sees it, he shouldn't be like, "Oh, you're crazy." No, you've been looking into this the whole time.
Yes, yes, exactly, and, I will give him credit, he did try running the
He
second
did.
time.
He did.
However, he ran into a room.
Ran
Granted,
into
I
a
mean,
room.
he didn't know necessarily what was coming at him, but that room was there was no escape. You're just a sitting
Yeah.
duck, and that's what he was a sitting duck, and bummer.
But what a
Didn't end
great
well.
no, but what a great way to open the movie. Honestly, it really did set the tone of anywhere dark she can get you. And
Oh, yes.
she
Yep.
is just beyond just there was an evil sense, there was a helplessness sense. You never felt like um any of the protagonists had a genuine leg up on her. Like even when they
Yeah.
tried like she had supernatural abilities that she could actually to an extent like control the lights a little bit. Like, there'd be times it'd be flickering and flickering. You're like, is that Diana
Mhm.
doing that or is it just the worst luck ever?
Right. No, because she's able to well, if we're talking about this opening scene still, like, he was in that room full of light, but she was somehow able to get it off.
And again, I don't know if that's Diana or just the worst luck because if you go through the rest of the movie, there's times like she actually like she puts a fire out. She
Yep.
busts different lights. Is that her? Is that not her? I don't know, but it didn't really hinder the movie. It built up more on the idea of just the helplessness, which is a great, kind of
Yeah,
suspense feeling.
and I didn't think it was, like, out of the ordinary. It was very on track, and it wasn't one of those, like, great, like, you just have insane powers where, like, you can never die type thing.
So I gotta ask you, because you do
Mhm.
see the monster's face, you see Diana's face a couple times. Do you
Yeah,
think that was a
mhm.
smart move on their part? I'm putting you on the spot.
Nope, I understand. Um, hmm, I mean, she's pretty freaky. Um,
It was a good jump scare. Like that was a good jump scare, and this movie is full of good jump scares.
yes, oh yes. There are some good ones. I do think there was I'm trying to remember. There was one that like you definitely expected it and it still got you a little
It did.
bit, but it was one of those like, oh, I kind of like I definitely saw that one coming. Um and I mean you could call for sure a couple of them out, but they still like in that opening scene where the one girl is flickering that light on and off, on and off. She does it so many times that you just have
Oh,
absolutely no idea when it's coming.
it felt like she did it
Um
50 times.
I know, and I won't lie, it did make me mad how many times she was doing it,
She
'cause I
started to
was
play that
like,
line. She started to play that line of
"She
"You deserve
was.
this." How many times
You
do you need to
deserve
see this
this."
to realize, yeah, that's actually a thing?
That is a thing. Like, you yes. Yep. So that did make me mad. Um, but I mean, at least she got out of there right away, so
She did. She
but,
did.
I don't know. It wasn't like, I can't really, like, full on picture her face. The things that I can picture, though, are her long nails, kind
Mm,
of the shape of what she is, and her eyes. Her eyes are
yeah.
what really stuck out to me because they glow a little.
Yep.
Um,
The dark
so I don't
shade version of her is more of the iconic version, not that I think there's
I
2
agree.
times I think you see the monster or see Diana's face, which
Mhm.
to me almost makes it unnecessary, even though they were
Yeah.
both good jump scares, but they didn't necessarily enhance it for me. Like, oh, now I know what she really looks like. No, the
No, yeah.
shade version of her with the green eyes, that's the scariest part of her.
That's the scariest part. I agree. I was gonna say it really didn't make a major effect. It's not something that I like. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that part when you see her.
That's true. That's true.
So
Which
I agree. It didn't really make a big effect, but I mean, I don't think it made it worse.
true. But then it just kind of goes back to the I guess it was a good jump scare, so it doesn't hurt the movie, but it does enhance it. And it'll be interesting when we talk about the grade that we give Diana as a monster, like
Mhm.
thinking about that, because I think that might kind of push the grade a little bit, at least for me.
Mhm.
Because, man, how often do we scream, less is more? And Diana at her
Yes.
scariest was when she was just a black figure with long nails. Like there's a spot in the movie where she's carving in the floor. She clearly has,
Mm. Yeah.
and that just hearing that noise was horrifying. There she is. She's just this black shade figure, and the scene is intense till she finally looks over, and then here comes the scary helplessness, and that was much better than her turning around and oh, there's her face.
Mhm. Mhm. Nope, I agree. I completely agree.
What did you think about our protagonists? The estranged family. We got these different family members, especially after the dad died. We had the stepdaughter, the oldest daughter, excuse me, and her
Mhm.
stepbrother who have kind of a unique relationship. The mother,
Right.
who we'll get into that in a second, how she
Yeah.
plays into this whole friggin'
Yeah, I was
nightmare.
gonna say she's a whole other thing.
Ugh.
Um,
And then
I guess yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
Personally, my favorite character and one of the few characters that I'm like, you do not deserve to die, sir. You
Yeah, she's
fought
the
the good fight.
boyfriend.
Was the boyfriend? Was the
Absolutely.
boyfriend? Not often do we
Yeah.
watch horror movies and we're like, you are making all the right decisions. Maybe not by staying with her, but you know what? You are still making the right decisions. But Blair, let's
No,
just start from the top
mhm.
before we get into our grading system and just kind of start talking about the movie plot and just different things like that. Or if there's anything else you wanted to talk about that was unique. Let's just talk about the characters. What did you think of our protagonist?
Uh I thought the boy wasn't bad. I actually thought his acting was pretty good
Mm,
for it, being a kid. I thought like those moments of when he like is super scared. was good acting. There were some moments where he had to cry, and I was very impressed. Um, because there was another movie we watched not too long ago, and I'm not gonna say what it is, but where the kid acting wasn't that good.
Yeah,
Uh,
yep.
and
I know exactly
so
what you're talking about.
yeah, and so I really thought he did a good job.
Mm,
Um, the sister, I didn't think she was bad either. I do think there were a couple maybe moments that felt a little melodramatic, but I mean it is a horror movie.
yep.
Stakes are high, everything's pretty melodramatic in horror movies, but their relationship, I think the only thing that left me like a little bit like wanting more or just curious about is what their relationship was prior to this. Like,
Mm,
how long had it been since he's reached out? Because she went to him right away when he called, you
true.
know? She didn't hesitate, she went, but it was like, "I haven't seen you in forever," type thing, and it was like, "Hmm." I don't know, like, that was the only thing, just the start of it seemed a little odd.
I get that, especially like when we are first introduced to her, she
Yeah.
comes across like this, big punk rocker, she's got all the,
Yeah.
the almost goth, goth in an essence. She's got the more hard posters. She has her apartment is kind of a mess. She kind of gives off that essence of almost rebellious, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And along with first introducing her, you're introduced to her boyfriend, who I would say they even did this on purpose. Like you think he's kind of a I don't know if scumbag's the right word, but I remember thinking when I first met him, I was like, oh boy, he's going to be the trashy boyfriend. We're going to play into some pretty big stereotypes here, or something like that. He's going to end up
Yes.
being part of the problem.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Like he was just gonna be one of those pawn characters that is just gonna be easy to kill off.
Yes, I thought here's some fodder, that's for sure. And especially
Mhm.
when the movie goes, throughout the movie, there's I would say two pretty specific moments. I thought, yep, here we go.
Here it is. You're
Here it is.
done.
You're out of here. But boy, and him proving us wrong, boy, I hope people see this strictly for a nice, refreshing. Man, this guy, he probably would fit the category of a lot of people's. Yeah, you are probably gonna die, and he goes, nah, I'm gonna survive.
Yeah, I proved you wrong.
I proved you wrong, because dang, did he prove us wrong. Um,
Yes.
the brother, the little boy. I mean, gosh, it's hard not to talk about the mom and him in the same category, or at least right out of the
Mhm.
gate, because again, spoiler alert right here. The mom is friends with the demon. We might have already even stated that, but the mom is friends with the demon.
Yeah.
She's the reason the demon's there. You know,
She is the problem.
she is. Oh man, she almost borders that line of antagonist and protagonist. She wants to
Yeah.
do good so badly, but is just so bad at doing good. And
Well, I mean, she's kind of being possessed. It's not all
well,
her fault.
yeah, that's also true. And they do throughout the movie kind of help change the view of her like as the problem versus more of a victim in her own sense.
Of course,
And
yeah, of course.
they fill in some pretty big gaps of like what if moments, if just Diana wasn't there, how great this family could have been. And um I did find it kind of interesting. I'm usually not a big, oh, that's just a thing in movies, like, oh, this character just randomly appeared. Oh, this event just happened to be part of their lives
Mhm.
or something like that. But
Mhm.
in this movie, I think it works. Like the fact that her and Diana, spoiler alert again, Diana at one point was a living person with just a horrible skin condition. Like she couldn't be in
Mhm.
lights. And
Mhm.
in the afterlife, she becomes this evil spawn demon who cannot be in lights. That's her one weakness. So they met in this insane asylum.
Yeah, and it kind of even talks though, like, you get the backstory that, like, even when she was alive, Diana, that she would manipulate and kind
Yes.
of take over, and that's how, like, I mean, this started before Diana even became a demon. Uh, she was already latched to the mom.
Yep. And I guess my question for you, Blair, when it comes to the mom, does it ever actually state why the mom was in the insane asylum? I think I might have missed that, and that kind of goes back to my point of, oh, this was just the thing. And I didn't have many problems with the movie overall, but this is one of the ones I was kind of like, okay, they met in an insane asylum. Why was the mom in an insane asylum? Clearly, they're having people like Diana in this hospital or this place.
Mhm.
Why is the mom there? Why was she there in the first place? And maybe I missed it. And you can even and
Mhm.
tell me what you think. But for me, this kind of was like one of those. Oh, this is just there. More of as just a way to connect the pieces and kind of going back to the guts are a little shallow for, or like just the depth of it was a little shallow for me. There wasn't a lot of guts to it. It was just kind of like a kind of a stereotypical place. Like, oh, they met in an asylum. The mom is from an asylum. Why? Because
Mm, that is a good point, I'm trying to remember,
I am too, and I'm even going through my notes, and we're pretty good at this of like, you know,
right.
tracking
So,
pretty vital things, and I don't see it.
well, I looked it up because I feel like it was briefly mentioned. Um, so it does say that the film explains that the mother was admitted to the psychiatric hospital as a child because she suffered from severe depression. And after reading that, I feel like I do kind of remember that being briefly mentioned. But thing is, I mean,
Should a person
hmm,
with depression be in the same hospital as Diana, who is constantly in these like, because they start doing playbacks and recordings of, oh, she's evil, she's like getting into people's head. Seems like there's a little bit of balance there that doesn't quite hit the mark.
right,
And to put somebody with severe depression in the house like that. Now, again, this is not coming from somebody who knows much about this stuff. So if I'm speaking way out of turn, well, shame on me. But for this movie specifically, I kind of thought that was one of the moments I was like, mm, we kind
yeah,
of just
how
latched
did
onto Asylum there, didn't we?
a little bit. Um, yeah, and I think they just kind of ran with it with her because it wasn't even like they really talked about her depression later on. It just seemed like she was crazy, like she was talking to people or like I mean, she
Yes.
was friends with a demon, you know?
Yep.
Like it didn't really cover her depression again. It seemed more like like a mental thing. Um,
And funny
s-
enough, like even like the medication the mom should be taking becomes a pretty big part of the story. Like,
right, because it's supposed to help her keep her mind clear, and but Diana doesn't let her.
yep. So it's weird how the demon, I guess, yeah, the fact that she was there in the first place because she was only there because the mom remembered her. It's an interesting and very unique way. I don't, certainly other people are probably going to point out movies that do stuff like this, but I don't know. Lights Out, I thought did a pretty solid job of finding a way to get the demon there.
Mhm. I actually thought it was almost unique in the sense of like I think they try to make you feel like slightly sorry for Diana and
A
like
little bit.
try to make you feel bad for her a little. I mean, she's a terrible person. Obviously, you're not rooting for her, but I mean, gosh, what they did to her was terrible.
Yeah, for those of you that are gonna watch the movie, we'll try not to spoil too much. But in the psychiatric, like in the loony house, I don't. What's the best way to put this? in the insane asylum, excuse me, something does go horribly wrong and kind of becomes that vengeful spirit in a way.
Mhm.
So, and there is definitely some pity there, especially since they're kids. You know, it wasn't like
Yes.
Diana, Diana, she dies. How she dies is horrible. Again, please watch. Um, how she dies in the insane asylum is truly horrible, horrible. But they also don't sugarcoat it that she was a pretty horrible person in the insane asylum too.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Hmm. But no,
But
I do. I thought the storyline was great.
and like you said, the kid as an actor did a really good job, and I even like the way that they wrote his character. He cares. He's a kid that cares about his sister. He cares about his mom. There's multiple moments that he's trying to help both of them, whether it's to reconnect the family. You know, he does
Mhm.
lay it on pretty thick a few times with his sister that she left. Um, but there's a pretty decent redemption arc there too, I would say, for just about everybody.
Yeah. Yes. Alrighty, so we're just gonna kind of jump in to the grading system now. And just as a little reminder, kind of what we do is we grade from F to S, and just kind of as it is grading, F is your worst, but S is the best. We say that's superior.
Yeah, a lot of
And
emphasis on the we. Yeah, I'm the one that came up with that.
sure, what
Superior.
you're so stupid.
Yeah, that's what your
Um,
S is. You know, gosh. Superior. I went home and thought of S words for the podcast.
I can't stand you.
Stupid. All
You're
right.
dumb. All
You're
right. So,
tell them the categories.
yes, we're going to go through each category. So, we've got our storyline, acting, scariness, setting, costumes, makeup, CGI, and then we give our overall grade after grading those. So, let's just go ahead and jump into the storyline. Where are you thinking? And I want to hear, obviously, your reasoning.
I'm gonna give it, man, it's tough. The story itself is pretty unique. It's not
Mm-hmm.
often we watch a movie where one of the characters is genuinely friends with the antagonist, the demon, the spirit, and then
Mm-hmm.
wants their family to get acclimated with that spirit and demon, and it's it's pretty unique. And on top of there being a redemption arc, with it all being PG-13, and then
Right.
characters you don't think you're gonna like, you end up liking, and I'm gonna give it an A minus, because on top of
Okay.
that, they did it in an hour and 20 minutes.
I
We have watched
know.
some we have watched some long scary movies, and they feel long. This was
Mhm.
a short one, and it felt like they covered a lot of ground in that small amount of time. So I'm
I
gonna
completely
go,
agree.
yep, I'm going with an A minus. They started out scary, introduced the characters in what I thought was a pretty appropriate amount of time, and then we were off to the races. We knew where that ghost, the that Diana was from the beginning,
Mhm.
and it was great. So I'm gonna go A minus for story.
Yep. I think I'm just gonna go one above you with an A. Um, because I was originally thinking honestly A plus or A. Just what made it go what made me decide A, what took it down a couple points was the mom and just the storyline of how she ended up at the psych ward. I think a little bit more could have been covered there or something something there could have been changed to just enhance it a little bit. Uh, and then I obviously how it started fantastic and how like it starts off with such a good scare and it really sets up the story and like you said we get right into it. It just makes me wonder, obviously this has been going on for a long time since his older sister also knows Diana
Yeah.
and she went through it as a child. So I guess I'm just like what happened? You know? Obviously, we know that she grew up and she left, but, like, she clearly the girl never died. Like, did she just have to get along with Diana or, like, until she could get out? Or I don't know. There's something of the like, before story. Like, what happened all those years? Like, how did they get by?
And it's so funny you even bring that up because there's a part of the story where so the sister, the older girl and the younger boy
Mhm.
are step siblings. Her
Mhm.
dad, um, early in the movie, you think he left. Again, not try to spoil too much because they kind of very briefly covered what happens to the dad.
Right.
A little unnecessary, but for me, and they make it look like she's somebody that cuts her arm and stuff like that. Now, whether that's one of the what ifs for me, whether that was her or if that was Diana, I don't know. But her being a punk rocker kind of goth girl, I was like, all right, she's going through this rebellious. We're kind of tagging on to some stereotypes here, but she's a caring stepsister, and there was a little bit of, I don't know if cheesiness is the right word, or just unnecessary like random character attributes that really didn't do anything to enhance the story for me and almost took it down a peg. Because
Mm.
sometimes just unnecessary things, I'm like, come on now, who cares? For
Mhm.
lack of a better word, who cares?
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, because man, one of the big thing is like CPS was big in this movie. Like, are they gonna take away her son? Or she tried to
Right.
she tried to hold on to him, and CPS wouldn't allow it. I'm like, okay, seems a little unique. And then
Yes. They didn't do anything though.
not really. They just kept taking the boy back,
Right.
and I don't know. It seemed like again kind of a ooh, what's a way we could get the kid back to the mom? We'll use CPS. Okay, fine.
Well,
No
it
one's gonna
worked.
deny that it's not a way to do it, but
Yep.
and then on top of like what you said, this happened when they were little girls, and the idea that it hasn't been a thing throughout their entire lives. Because one thing that's unique about Diana, she is not um she is not enclosed to that house. She can go out and roam free multiple times throughout
Yes.
the movie. She's at the warehouse, she's at the girl's apartment. you know Diana
Mhm.
is not restricted to that house. So
Right.
again,
Which
and I'm really
then
trying not
also
to bash the story too much because it was a good movie, but that's why it's an A minus for me.
nope, and I understand that. But like I guess like the more you talk about it too, is it's like why couldn't Diana latch on to someone else? Like what stopped her from that?
That's true. And this is one of the rare movies we wanted to start this whole our entire podcast off with a movie that doesn't have a second. And to our knowledge, there is not a second Lights Out, which is why we picked this
No.
movie on top of one we like quite a bit. Um,
Yes.
could she have latched onto somebody? Absolutely. It's pretty
But
clear, like in the insane asylum, that was something she did.
but
But
yeah, where she like messed with people's heads.
that is a really good
Um
point.
so I don't know. I know. I have no idea. But I got to be honest, if I'm glad they didn't make a second one because then I think you could have made her all powerful where like you can't kill
Mm,
her. She'll just latch on to someone else and it never ends.
just
And we
yeah,
don't just we're glad that you made the one done solid movie. No need to keep it going. No need to not
no
saying that
reason.
other ones out there haven't kept going and that they aren't good, but I don't know how you would change the storyline.
That's a good point. And we've talked about it multiple times, and I'm going to guess there's plenty of people that could listen to this that would agree. There are tons of series and different movies out there that just milk at things dry, and they no longer have the effect that they originally do. There's some movies that will go so far that they take away from the first one, and
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. They just need to leave this be. What part of
Yep.
me wants to see Diana come back, but a large amount of me is just like she is done, and that's a good thing.
Mhm.
So
Yep. But I
both
think
of us
I'd still
A's
give it an
though.
A. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
A,
yep.
you're an A, I'm an A minus. So you're
Mhm.
wrong, I'm right. But let's move on.
All right. You suck. Um, acting. Hmm. I think I'm gonna give acting.
I am
Think
curious what you say because, as somebody who is trying to get into the acting business, this is I'm very much value your opinion on this for once.
for once. Man, I was. I mean, I was convinced. I actually really thought the boy did a good job. It really was, and I honestly thought the mom had me convinced. Like she was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and she. Mm, it really. I think the boyfriend and the sister like the only time that it just felt cheesy was their scene when you first meet them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I do.
That was not like that scene. I was just like, okay, but that's when they were first introduced to us, and it was just like the I'm not your girlfriend, but I like you, and I don't know, like it was just okay.
And that's a fair way to put it. But I am curious,
Mm,
like, could you give it a grade? I mean, you're gonna have to, but
right. It stinks because I am in between like a low A minus, I B plus. Well, and we got to think about Diana too, 'cause she was a character in it. Um, she was fantastic. Uh, Diana, she didn't play around.
no, she did not.
Um,
No, she did not.
oh, so with Diana, I think two characters. I mean, how many there? What there was five of them. Diana, mom, boyfriend, sister, brother, and
Yeah,
two out of the three. What is that? What's a 3 out of 5? What grade would that be?
a 60%.
For real? That's a
Yeah, that's
60%? You get 3 right? You missed 2?
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's terrible.
Hey,
You're a mean teacher.
it's a it's 6 out of 10. That's a 60%.
It's 3 out of 5.
Yeah, multiply the 5 by 2 and the 6 by 2. I mean, excuse me, the 3 by 2. So that's 6 out of 10. That's a 60%.
That's a bummer. I don't know
So
how I
you're
made it through
going,
school.
well,
Um, no, I'll give it a I'm gonna give it a B plus, I think. I'll give it B plus.
yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you at B plus. The young man was very solid.
I thought
The
so.
the mom is actually the one that I'm going to give some props here to because she was crazy, but not
Mhm.
over the top crazy. They could have
No.
made her pretty dang nuts, but she was coherent. But you could tell she was not only, I mean, the fact that she's friends with a demon, but just the way she interacted with the older daughter and her son. You're like, okay, clearly she's not there. The
Right.
the main actress, we've seen her in quite a bit of stuff, and if you see the movie, I very much hope you do see this. Probably can watch more stuff that she's in and go, yeah, she is very much a solid actress that should be in more stuff.
Yes.
The boyfriend was okay, and that's not me bashing him because his part was
Really
not,
wasn't that big.
it
He didn't do
wasn't
much.
correct, and he wasn't written, going back to the storyline, written to necessarily be a show-stopping character. So it's tougher to have those acting moments that like really stick out. And then I think about the side characters. The dad in the beginning did a good job. The
Mhm. Mhm.
janitor lady or whatever that was working there late night, she was okay. The two police officers that joined later in the movie were fine. Diana,
No, they deserve to die
well, in the story, they
in that story.
in
Yes.
that story, they were definitely our two that were like, yeah, you deserve this. You deserve this.
Mhm.
There's always more. There's always at least a couple, and there they were. And Diana, whether that was there's definitely some CGI aspects to it, but whoever did her voice and whoever did the screaming and just her mannerisms was very much spot on. But there was enough for me to also agree that yeah, a B plus is probably where this movie belongs. A B plus. That's not me knocking it, but that is just what it is. So B plus in the acting realm. So right now I got an A minus and a B plus.
Yep. Yep, and an A for me and a B plus. Yep. And I like I said, I really do sit right in between that A minus and B plus for the acting. I really didn't think it was bad.
It
Um,
it wasn't, but I don't think I'm touching the A minus yet. I think I might even be going closer down to the B range
okay.
because it's especially for
Mhm.
us that have been in the acting, I mean, just musical world. I mean, you definitely more than me. Your performance is only as good as your worst actor or whatever your worst performer. And the side characters, they weren't there were a couple moments I wasn't really feeling it with just their way they were on the screen. I
I get
guess
what you're saying. Nope,
I'm
I
being
understand.
super vague, but I wish you could see. I hope these people go and see it so we can have these discussions.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. I understand that.
All
B
right, moving on.
plus. That's a solid one. Yep. So scariness. Ooh. I This one's scary.
This is scary.
I give it a solid. Trying to think. I don't know. I mean, again, they added little things that didn't even matter to the story, like the mannequins that added a little scare for me, at least.
Hmm.
I think flicker, like the automatic lights, are terrifying. And again, both of those things were bam right in the beginning. And when you shut the light off and turn it on, and she's there and she gets closer, some good jump scares.
Yep.
Um, I think I even think subtle moments like when the mom is standing in her room trying to talk to her daughter and Diana pulls her right back in. You know what I'm
Yep.
talking about?
Oh yeah.
Like that's eerie. That is like a very unsettling, like, oof, you are wrapped around this demon's finger. Um, and also just like when she scratches the floor, she does that a
Oh,
couple times.
the sound.
Ew,
Yes.
it's
Oh
awful.
gosh, it was awful.
And, like, even when
And for those
she
listening, when we say something's awful, that means it's great.
yes, yes, 'cause we're it's just awful as in, like, "Ah, crap, that's
Yep.
scary."
Yeah, it's
Like, what a
horrifying.
bummer. But even, like, that moment where she's in the closet and they open it because they turn the light on and she's gone and has gone under the bed and tries to pull him from under the bed, it's just, like, it doesn't matter how much, like, light is around, if there's a spot of darkness that she can hide in, she's there.
Hmm.
So that's just a rough feeling. I don't know. I really think it's solid. I don't know what I would change. I am gonna try and not be as stingy because I feel like I was pretty like stingy with the acting. I could see this being an A plus A. I'm somewhere right there. What do you think?
I get that, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with the grade. I'm gonna give it an A. I think
Mhm.
Diana is definitely an A. Maybe I am being a little more stingy. It's definitely not in the S. A plus, I don't know, but it's an A for me. Diana was truly a horrifying monster, and one of the reasons I think this movie was as scary as it was is because of the subtleness. For example, like
Yes.
every time there was a kill, you did not see Diana kill them. You saw the aftermath of what she did to them.
Mhm.
You didn't see her, slicing people up. You didn't like the actual kill itself. You did see her like cut the main protagonist with her nails, or like she did leave some marks, but you didn't see the actual kills. And it's so great to just let your imagination fill in the gaps because it's
Yeah.
10 times worse than probably what the writer was thinking. You
Right.
know,
And also it's quick. She
It was
doesn't take
quick.
forever. She just yes, it's quick.
It's yep.
Uh, I don't know. I think I will go up to the A plus also because it's not you can't like run away. Running away is not going to do anything.
Correct. And what keeps it out of the S, being going back to the S is like top 10, top 5 monsters we've ever had. And there's that's just a very hard thing to break. But what keeps it down to an A for me when it comes to the scariness, um, it actually might be when you show us the
Her
the face.
face.
I don't know why. That was just a moment of, yeah, it's a great jump scare, but that kind of destroyed some of the mystery for me.
Yeah.
Um, Not only that, the there were a few lulls in the movie, I would say, that kind of, even as short as this movie was,
Mhm.
like they're trying to set up the house, like they tried to put a whole bunch of lights. They tried to give themselves a solid chance, only for everything that they planned ahead to be completely eliminated in a matter of seconds
Right.
because of a power outage, whether that was Diana or just the worst luck ever. I don't
Well,
think
and
it
that's just
really.
it. It has to be Diana. That's like the second, third time that's happened in the movie where the power is just out.
Well, remember when he goes out and he even like flashes his light on like some street lamps, and even the street lamps are out, like the street lights,
Mhm.
like so. Because to me that signified like the whole block is out of power. Now, if it's Diana, again, going back to supernatural abilities, horrifying. Um, some of the things, I don't know. For me, it just wasn't. Even though there were so many things that they did right in this movie, and I was genuinely scared. I don't know why. I can't even necessarily give you a reason it wasn't over the hump of A plus and S, because I start thinking about A plus and S monsters and horror movies that I love, and I don't know. I'd still pick those over this, even though this is one I strongly recommend and hope people see. It just doesn't quite get over that hump of an A for me.
Yeah.
So
I understand that.
I thank you
I
for
just
being so understanding, by the way.
you know what? Forget it. I think you're wrong and I don't value your opinion.
All right, moving on.
Yep. Setting. Hmm.
Going back to simplistic, the apartment, the warehouse, and the house itself. The
Yeah, and
school a little bit.
the school a little bit, yeah. I wouldn't even I mean, the warehouse, listen, I think that added so much to the movie. What a great opener. Uh, and then you're right, it's really just between the apartment and home. Yes, the school is brought up, but I think that was just more for the storyline of like he's not sleeping at home
Yep,
and this really isn't like this sucks that he has to continue on going through life while this is going on at home. You truly have no idea what someone's going on what's going on in their life that or like what's going on at home.
yep.
Uh, so I think that adds maybe like another layer of something.
And
But
they used that house fantastic. Like they had 3 layers. They had 3 levels to that house. The top layer,
hmm
the living room, and then the basement. And
yep,
they used all 3 levels.
and I think
Great.
it worked so well. And really, the basement was only that one time,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was terrifying.
It was.
Especially, oh, I gotta admit, I do love when she goes and puts the fire out. Oh, what a
That
bummer.
was such a great moment because they think they've got a plan, and then she just puts the fire out. Going back to that sense of helplessness, like, okay, it is dark. You're screwed. There,
Yes,
you had a great idea, and she had another plan for it.
and
So,
I like that they find a black light, but it doesn't help them. In the sense of, like, it's not a light that affects Diana.
right, right. It just kind of, and I for those people that are like into that ghost hunters stuff, I mean, because you might find this interesting. They do see like a handprint, like from the ghost. It actually the black light is what showed Diana's true form.
Mm,
So For those
Mhm.
people who are all about the ghost hunting stuff, you might be able to fact check how if that actually is a thing or not, seeing that handprint or whatever. But that was definitely a nice little touch.
I thought so. I thought it kinda helped, uh well, it added another jump scare
That's for sure.
to the
That's for
end.
sure.
Um, but
For me, I'm sticking with my A minus. I love that they didn't do anything over the top. It was a house and an apartment, and Diana can you and the warehouse was a great way to start out. And it kind of just added to that point that you made earlier. She can go anywhere. If there's darkness there, she can be there. And she's got a vendetta with those that have made her that are making her life tougher or made her life tough. So I'm gonna go
Mhm.
A minus. The setting was simple again, but they used
Yep.
it very well.
I think so. Yeah, I'm definitely right in between that A and A minus. Um, it's funny because 'cause I'm thinking of exact like, this one of the movies, and maybe you'll know what I'm talking about, where they just stay in one place the whole time,
Oh,
except right at the end.
yep.
Like, that to me is an A plus,
Yeah,
uh, spot. So I'm trying to c I know I shouldn't be comparing. Um,
I think
I
it's okay to compare. I definitely think it's okay to compare because we put all these movies on the same,
yeah,
spectrum.
rating yep, you're
So,
right. And I definitely don't think it beats that setting, like that A plus. But I do I think they keep it pretty simple. I mean, you only go really to 2 places other than school. So you know what? I do think I'll give this one an A. I'll give this one an A. It's hard. I try to, I want to be super fair and
you make it sound easy. You make it sound easy, that's for sure.
yeah, all right. All
Grr,
right.
eh.
Shut up.
All right, let's
Yes,
hit the last one.
costumes. Costumes, makeup, CGI. Uh, gee. I mean, the mom looks like your main characters, they all look normal. Nothing
Yep.
is crazy there. Everyone does fine. Obviously, they make the one girl look more punk rock and kind of take
Goth or
that.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, just a little like it did feel a little stereotypical with some of that, which to me could maybe knock that down a point. And then, I mean, the main one here is Diana, because she is, I mean, she's got to be CGI'd a little bit,
Yeah,
especially when they, make her like do that crack growing thing.
yep.
Um, but gosh, it wasn't bad.
No, not at all. The kills, there were, as makeup goes, it's the only time I can really kind of think of how makeup would affect it because, the aftermath of the few kills that are in the movie,
Yep.
um, they were good, not exceptional, but good.
Well, and that's just it because it really wasn't gory. And they really didn't like when you see the first kill at the warehouse, you see it from a far pan. Like it feels like you're in a corner of the warehouse up top. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
and you're look,
Like
yeah,
you're looking down at it from an angle and they don't zoom in on his body. You can see that there's blood, like obviously he died, but
yeah.
it's really not like over the top.
No,
Um,
no, they're not zooming in. They're not making anything. These kills are not meant to scar the viewer. Like some of them, you could probably pick dozens and dozens of different horror movies that just, my word, did they
yes.
overwhelm the viewer with guts and 50 rib
Oh
cages and
gosh, I can
20
think of
gallons of
20 of
blood
them.
and exactly, we're all just, fountains of blood ready to blow up.
Exactly. But I mean,
This, yeah,
for what it is, I mean, you knew that they were dead.
you knew what they
You
were dead and you knew they died in a pretty horrific way.
like, yep, very unfortunate. So I think they like marked it there. And then honestly, I think about the it's the police officer
Yeah,
that dies and his eyes are gone. That's pretty freaky.
that was freaky.
Uh, and trying to think, he doesn't. Diana get the girl's leg? Does she have a mark on her leg? No, I don't think
Yeah.
so. Does she?
Uh,
I know she
it's
no, because she grabs the little kid's leg and there's no mark on him.
true, but I thought she slashed one of them.
I
She
thought so
slashes her
too.
right at the end. Remember when she's on the ground and then she's cowering in the corner because she did get a couple slashes in.
You're right. I mean, those were good. Nothing like that was good makeup. I really wasn't an over the top like crazy makeup.
It wasn't an over the top crazy makeup. It wasn't an over the top crazy costume, and they used the
Mm-mm.
CGI to an appropriate amount. Like
I complete yes,
for having a
yes.
monster in the house, and they're in the house 70% of the movie, you didn't you didn't feel overwhelmed with cheesiness of CGI. They could have really made Diana look stupid
Yeah,
by
yep.
showing her too much, but they didn't. In my opinion,
No.
they didn't.
And when
Which
they do, I mean, it's intense.
it's
It
intense.
sucks. You don't
It
want to see
sucks.
her.
No, you don't. You don't want to see her. It's like this is a huge bummer.
And like when she's crouched on that ground carving something in the ground and she switches her head over,
Oh, that's a moment. That's
that
definitely a moment.
sucks.
Yeah, that sucked.
That
That is
part sucks.
that did suck.
And so like and I mean and right there though, that could have been a person just in a black outfit
And you know, that's
with a wig.
interesting that you say that because like I'm even going through the movie, there's parts that I have to go like, yeah, that probably was CGI, but you're not wrong. Like this could have easily been somebody in a costume and just like making jerking motions and just keeping them super dark. So, um,
I feel like that part probably was. I mean, crouched down with the super quick head whip.
yeah,
I
I
felt like that was probably a person. And then I even think about like when she is up on the like ceiling at one point right at the end when like
yeah,
it's all going down and that could have been a person.
that could have been a
There
person, or maybe
when
when
she
she's like,
grows,
yep, like remember
obviously
when she's
that's
on the,
CGI.
yes, when I think when she grows and she gets like clearly there's some, or when they show her face, that was definitely CGI, but like when she's on the couch and she's leaning over the boy, it's like, okay, that could be a person.
Mm,
That was definitely a moment. If it was CGI, bravo to them because they made it look great. Yes, it's just a
yeah,
black shade with crazy hair, but still,
but
you had me
less
convinced.
is better.
Less is better, especially in this situation. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go with. I gotta stick with that A minus. I I can't bash them for anything, but they didn't do anything to get over that hump, and that's a hard hump to get over.
I get it. Well, I just looked this up real quick. It says that CGI is rarely used, and that Sandberg, the director, deliberately chose to rely almost entirely on practical effects to create the terrifying monster, Diana.
Bravo to him. He did
I
it.
know.
Bra-
He did.
and then to think that this whole thing is PG-13, it, bravo even more. It's genuinely impressive.
Yes, it says that the actress wore like a specialized black suit, heavy prosthetic makeup, and a long black wig. Wow.
Wow.
But I
Well,
mean, it does say that they used it. I mean, you got to when she grows and does that like crack 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 thing. Um, but really, I mean, even then, it wasn't like it's CGI, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It was really good
all right. Okay, I'm gonna give it an A minus. What's your grade for the CGI, Blair?
for the CGI. I mean,
Or
hey,
the
I'm
just
gonna
the
give it an
all
A. That was pretty good.
all right, whatever.
I was
You're super
impressed.
nice.
Well,
Well,
you're stupid. All
I
right,
just have
continue.
higher expectations because I'm a better
I
person.
think you're
Moving on to the last.
unrealistic. Yeah, whatever. The
All right.
overall grade.
I'm gonna stick with that A minus. And it's an A minus that I strongly recommend people go see this movie, especially as a PG-13. You want to get scared while at the same time not having to worry about like nudity, bad
Yes.
language over the top. kills that are just way gruesome and can like ruin the whole thing. This doesn't have any of that. It's a solid movie that is it's going to give you some good jump scares and it's going to build some great suspense. Is it
Yeah.
perfect? No, but it's a good one.
Yep. I think I'm gonna give it an A. This is I think this is one of my tops. Like I see this in one of my favorites. Um, but well, I mean scary wise though. I'm gonna stick with A. I'm gonna stick with an A. It's a solid movie. I think it's a
It is.
solid one.
It is. Well, there you go. For Lights Out, you got the grade. From me, you got the A minus. From Blair, you got the A.
Mm-hmm.
Blair, as we start to close out here on our first real episode, do you have any final words for Lights Out?
Jeez. The one question that came to mind was and this is a spoiler, but could the mom have survived another way?
That is a that's a great question. I do hope people kind of that'd be an interesting one to ask other people. I
I don't know. It was
Great
just something
question.
to like maybe
Could
like sit and think about. Like when you go watch this movie and you see the ending, think about that question. Could the mom have survived another way?
could she have actually, yeah, could she have survived another way? And that being said, could she have survived? Does that mean Diana could have been defeated a different? There are a lot of
Right,
interesting what
exactly.
ifs there. Uh,
Exactly.
and my question is, I remember even asking mom this. Um, is this movie rightfully PG-13? Mom was appalled. She thought it should have been rated R. Me,
Good grief.
but me and Blair are like, yeah, PG-13 is about right. So definitely curious
Yes.
what you guys think as well. But I believe that is going to be it for our time here. Blair,
Yes.
again, any final last words before we log off?
Go watch Lights Out and tell us what you think.
Couldn't agree more. Go watch Lights Out. This is from Caleb.
And Blair.
Have a great rest of your day and go watch Lights Out. Bye.
Bye.